Hello and welcome to our second live streaming video. Today I'm going to talk to you about a few things. I basically want to talk to you about the wiring diagrams. That's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about, I want to talk to you about how you can read a wiring diagram. So I'm going to go straight into this. I'm not going to take long. I just want to give you the basics because I've been getting people asking me about wiring diagrams. So what I would want to say to you, it depends on whose wiring diagram you're looking at. Is it by Autodata? Is it by AllData? Is it by OEM? Is it the manufacturer's one? You'll find that there will be differences in the layout. So there's no standard layout, one size fits all. No. What you're going to get, you'll find that if every manufacturer, every company, they'll do it their own way. So today I am basically looking at Autodata. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Autodata. So let's look at these two lines at the top. I'll move it so that you can see that there's nothing above that. We want to look at these two lines. We've got 30 and we've got 15. What does it mean? That's a language, to you when you're reading everything that you see on a wiring diagram. It is a language that is speaking to you. So unless you understand the language, you'll not be able to understand what the wiring diagram is depicting to you or what it's saying to you. So let's start with 30. We said 30 is permanent live. 30 is hot at all times. It does not matter whether you have the ignition key in your pocket or the ignition key is in your house. If we go to any wire that is connected to 30, and by the way, when you see a dot like that, it means that this becomes 30 as well, that becomes 30 as well, that becomes 30. Anything that is joined by a dot. But you see here, there is no dot between 15 and 30. We are not joining these two. The lines are just crossing over each other. So which means there is no relationship whatsoever between 15 and 30. Okay, every wire that has got 30, it's just crossing over 15. It's not, it is not doing anything there. Okay, it is actually not doing anything. So you need to get to a point when you can look at these numbers and say, yes, I know what this means. That's the starting point for everyone who wants to understand. I'm talking to you level 3s, I'm talking to you level 2 students as well in the automotive industry. You want to understand these things. That's why I'm bringing this, so that everyone, even you guys that do DIY, this is your opportunity. I say it as it is. I don't leave any stone unturned. So I want you to understand, to get to know what I know. Some people ask me, why do you give this information for free? I'll tell you why. It was not easy for me to find this information when I was a student. Very, very, very difficult. Electronics is one area, especially in the automotive industry. It is one area where you'll struggle to get information. But here we go. I'll do my best. I'll try my best to give you everything that it takes. Do we have anybody on the stream at the moment who can You can text to me and tell me if everything is okay. Anyone who is on the stream at the moment who can tell me what's going on at the moment, if you're here, please just send a text, then I'll acknowledge you. I know I didn't send a lot of information prior to this. I didn't send invitation, sorry. So if you are here, do you want just to say hello, and then I can know that you're live? So I'll be watching the I will be watching the comments as we go. So here we go. We said 30 is permanent live, and then we said 15 is ignition live. So anything that has got 30, anything that is 30, it means that the battery permanent live is on. If you go with your multimeter, if the battery is 12 volts, you're going to find 12 volts. If it's a 24 volts, you're going to find 24 volts. And yes, given the one, thank you very much. I see you there. Thanks, my brother. So if also, if you go to number 15, anything that is joined, if we follow this line number 15, that's line 2, you see line 30 is coming down to these fuses here. There is line 15. Okay, this is line 15. That's the ignition. That is the ignition live. Okay, line 15 is the ignition live. I can go again to another wiring diagram, a different vehicle. So we've seen line 15 is the middle. If we follow line 15, that's line 15 there. Okay, so line 15 is our ignition key, and then we will have then line 30 as our permanent live. Okay, usually line 15 is your solenoid wire for this starter motor. Right, so let me go to my first diagram. Bear with me, I'll go to the first diagram. Simple. Okay, so now I've told you that this is permanent live. I've told you that this is ignition live, right? So if I go back, let me go to the bottom of the diagram and show you another important number. So that one there, number 31, it is your ground. So anything that is connected to number 31, it gets ground from that wire. So when you're doing your diagnosis, let's say you come here, you can see these 3 wires here. They all come from the ECU. So these 3 wires, you have got 3 grounds for this ECU. Okay, and you need all of them. Okay, so if one is broken, you can have trouble. Okay, so if you are diagnosing a problem, you check that all 3 of them are giving ground. So if you disconnect the ECU and come to 2B, 4B, 6B, and you will get ground. If you don't get ground, you're going to open, then you're in trouble. You need to get that one sorted. Follow that ground, follow that open, and get it sorted. I showed you how to check opens last stream. So let me go back here. Sorry, they'll be going back and forth. I'm trying to make the diagram as big so that as possible, so that you can see what I'm talking about. So right, okay, we know now what number 30 stands for. We know what 15 is. We know what 31 is. We know what 50 is. So let's look at some of the things here. What is that? So these are fuses. When you see that, that is a fuse. Okay, this is a fuse. And you can tell by this line that goes right in the center. It strikes a center line there. That shows it's a fuse. It's not a resistor. A resistor can sometimes have the same body as a fuse, but it will not have that V line, which shows that we have a fuse. So, okay, so fuse, another fuse, right? Okay, so I'll come to tell you what that means. You see these dotted lines here. I've said it on Cliff's platform. I might as well say it here because I know that there's so many people who have joined this YouTube channel thanks to Cliff and other people that have been doing this. I would want as well to thank a gentleman called Brighton Tonoza. He did a lot for this channel. You know what? So I just want to acknowledge him. He might not be here, but some of you would know him. He really, really, really did a lot in promoting this channel. And I've seen Cliff doing the same as well. So I really want to thank those two gentlemen and others who are doing it as well. You are passing the link to your friends, your colleagues, and you know, and everybody else. So thank you very much for your support. I really, really appreciate that. So here is another thing. So if you look at this, that box there, and then you see in there, that's a coil, that's a symbol of a coil, and then you have a switch. This is a relay, all right? So when you see that, that's a relay. So this is our engine relay. According to Autodata, K46 is an engine relay. So you know that's the relay. Remember what a relay is. A relay has got two sides to it. It has got this side, the control side. We call it a control side, okay? And here they are showing you that there's pin 4 and pin 8. But if we really look at the diagram of a relay, that should be, you should have pin 86 and pin 85. One of them being a positive, another one being a ground. So in this case, pin 4, that's the positive, okay? And then, am I correct? Let's follow this line and see. Let's follow where this line is. Yes, I'm correct. You see, fuse number 23 is the one that is power. So whenever you turn ignition key on, fuse number 23, it's a 10 amp fuse. It's the one that will power this coil. Once it powers this coil, this switch will not move until this wire that you see on pin 8, that wire that you see there, that comes to 13 on the ECU, that is a white and blue wire. That wire there, it gets a ground from the ECU. The ECU switches ground, supplies ground here. So now the coil has got power and ground. It becomes what? It becomes the load that I always tell you about. I'll sing that to your ears until it makes sense. It becomes the load. Now we have got voltage being consumed here because now we can have a complete circuit now that we've got a power and a ground. And then that magnetic field is created by the current that is flowing in this coil, and it pulls that switch and it closes. Now, when that switch closes, look where that switch is coming from. Your number 6 is coming. Let's follow that red wire. That's it here. It's coming from this 125 amp fuse that is connected to your, that is connected to your battery life. So that's 125. So all the time, this pin 6 is hot all the time. If you come here with an ignition key off, you are still going to get power. You will only get power on pin 4 when there is, you only get power on pin 4 only when the ignition key is on. But on pin 6, power stays there. So here is my tip to you technicians. Whenever you are diagnosing a relay, you want to look for those two powers. You go and check, remove the relay completely, pull the relay completely out, and then go and check the 4 pins. If you don't have a diagram, but your relay has got a diagram, you can actually see which one is your pin 30. So on your relay, that could be saying pin 30, that's your permanent live, and then you'll have pin 86, if I'm not wrong, as your power. Some manufacturers will use 86 or 85, you know. So those two there, just be careful and see for yourself as you read the diagram, right? So before you turn the ignition key on, you should have one power. When you turn the ignition key on, you should have 2 powers. Then you know that way, as far as power is concerned, your relay is being powered. But if it's not working, it's possibly because there is no ground. This wire, it's broken, or the ground in here, there's no more, the driver in here that provides ground is dead, and you don't have a ground. That ECU will not work. Your engine will not start because there is no ground on pin 8. You can have the 2 powers. All that I want you to know, even you level 3 students, whenever you're going to do competitions, okay, when you go for the competition, these are the tools that you want to take with you. If you are checking a relay, let's say you have an engine and no start, and you turn the ignition key on, the engine doesn't start. You check now your starter relay, you check 2 relays. You want to check your engine relay and also your starter relay. Those 2 you want to check and see. If the dash doesn't come on, just go straight for it. Start first with your engine relay, okay? Your engine relay, start with that one and see, is it being powered? Is it being grounded? Okay? I hope that is easy. So that is the relay. So let me come here to what I alluded to first. I said to you, when you see a box that is broken like this, it means that they have only shown you what you want to know about the power, engine management power. That's all. But there are more fuses in this fuse box. But in this case, they're only showing us 3 fuses and 1 relay. But it doesn't mean that these are the absolute in there. No, there are more. But if you see broken wires like this, they are telling you, it's a language that is saying to you, hey, look, we have only shown you what you need to know about this particular circuit. All right? That's what they are telling you. But if you have a solid box like this one here, whatever is in there that's all that you need. Well, if whatever is in there, it is everything. There's nothing missing. You have everything in that box. A solid box shows you that all that is supposed to be there, it is there for you. Don't look for anything else. Okay? So in this case, when you are looking at these fuses would be for the engine management side. They are not for the doors. They are not for the horn. That's what I'm trying to say here. We are just showing engine management wiring here. That's what I'm showing you. So when you see that, that's what it means. We're just showing you what you need to know about the engine management side of things. We haven't shown you everything. It's nothing to do with wipers. No, not at this stage. We're just talking about engine management system. Okay? So hopefully that will help you guys. So we are talking about the broken boxes. We're talking about the different numbers. Let me see if there's something again. So you can see there's another relay here, and you see this relay, this relay here. Well, it is the same. They are not different. I forgot to show you something here, that this relay is a 5-pin relay. Okay, you have number 1, number 2, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, and then you have got number 4. So which means that when this relay is open, it is actually powering something, another circuit that it is actually powering through fuse F400, okay, which could be either 50 amps, 80 amps, or 120 amps, okay? So it is powering something there, all right? So that's what you need to know about a 5-pin relay. When it's open, it is doing something. It is actually moving this power to whatever is being powered here. they are not showing us that because probably it has got nothing to do with engine management. All right. Right. Let me see. So I said to you, let me come here. I said to you, this dot is important. Please watch out for these dots because they are speaking to you. Okay, they are talking to you. All right, Mr. Zimi, you and me, we talked about wiring diagrams. You cried out for information on wiring diagrams. Here it is. I've actually prepared this time to make this video for you and many others who may benefit from this. So whenever you see a dot, it means that those two wires are physically joined together. And whatever is in the first wire is also in the second wire. If there's 0 volts in the first wire, there's 0 volts in the other wire. So let's say there's 0 volts in this wire here, okay? That battery wire, there's 0 volts. There will be 0 volts as well in everything, okay? If there's 12 volts here, 24 volts here, there will be 12 volts or 24 volts as well in all these wires powering the fuses. Okay, right. Let me look at a fuse. A fuse is a protective circuit. Okay, a fuse is there to protect the components against the spikes in current. Okay, whenever current spikes, it will damage the components. So we put a fuse to guard against that, to protect the components. These could be expensive components. We're talking about ECUs here. Here's an ECU. Here's a fuse. A fuse, when you are testing a fuse, you come here, okay? That's one side of the fuse. So if you get 30 here, and then you come here, you get 0. All that it means is that that fuse is open, okay? That's all that it means. A fuse is powered on one side. It's not powered on both sides. So this fuse gets its power from the battery. This side is just the delivery. It is the delivery to this unit here, to the glow plug unit. This is just delivering power. This is a conduit. So that voltage can be passed on to the module here. All right? So a fuse is powered only on one side. The next side is a receiver from the other side. So if the powering side is open, which means the receiving side will have nothing. So now, when you are using a power probe, which is the best way, to me, a power probe. Do you want to give me a power probe if you don't mind? Give us a power probe. To me, a power probe is the best way of checking fuses. It's quicker. Okay, there are other fancy tools that you can use, but you know what? Test light power probe is the best. I'm waiting for a power probe here, just to show you, in case you have never used a power probe. Let me explain. I'll go on a car at some stage and show you how to use a power probe. But for now, I'll just explain to you. So here's a power probe. Okay, you've got a tip. Okay, you've got this tip here. That's the one that will go. So if I go, and then I'll go on a wiring diagram, and then I'll go and touch on a position that I'm looking to test. And then you have got these two, your ground, you've got your ground, and then you've got your power. You connect these to that one to a live, and this one, and this will light up. So you have a positive side and a negative side. So when you touch a positive wire, the red light comes on here. It buzzes. It has got a certain buzz, a certain sound. But if you touch a ground wire, the green light comes on. It also has a certain sound. I am going to make a short immediately after this video just to demonstrate how you use this tool. And as well, you see this switch that you have here. You can, if you press it forward where the plus sign is, if you press it forward, I don't know whether we can zoom that. I don't know whether you can see that. There is a plus sign. Okay, there is a plus sign and a negative sign on that switch. So the plus sign at the top, negative sign. So if you click on the plus, towards the plus sign, this tip becomes positive. So if you had something that wasn't working because there's no power, you supply power, you start to see it working. Okay, if you click on the negative side, this tip will be negative. You can supply negative, to anything that you are using. So this is a power probe. It's an old one. I bought this years ago. Okay, but I love this tool. As you can see, I love this tool. As you can see that I've got a long cable, which means I can, even if you're working on lorries, on a trailer, you can still, if it doesn't, we've got an extension, so they give you everything that you need. So when you are testing a fuse with a power probe, I don't even look at the number. Now that I'm used to the sound, I just listen to the sound. Both sides should sound the same. That's the trick about using this tool. Both sides should sound the same. If they sound the same, your fuse is good. All right? I would say 99% your fuse is good. I know what I'm talking about there. I'll come back and explain that. All right? When you test your fuses with the ignition key off, you also want to test the fuses with an ignition key on. You can go and watch one of my videos where I was dealing with the rear wiper. I show how to use a power probe, but it was a different power probe like this one. This is a little bit newish to the one that I showed in that video. So next time I will show you how to use this one. If you have got any questions, please don't hesitate to send me the questions right now. So I'm saying to you, if you go on one side of a fuse, you come to the other side, you should have one sound. If you are using, I've seen people sometimes go on continuity and then check. Yeah, that's okay as long as that fuse is not powered. Okay, that's why I say I like to use a power probe, but not everyone can have a power probe. You can just use a simple test light. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you have got these fancy tools, you can use them. They do work. They do work as well. Okay, so that's fuses explained. All right, the fuses are now explained. So now, if I see anything that has got M, okay, I know that that's a motor of some sort. I know that there's a motor there. All I just need to do is to come and highlight the wiring diagram and say, hey, what is that motor? This is an engine coolant blower motor. Okay, that's what it is. So anything that has got M like that, and this one with the G, that's your alternator, okay, for generator. That is your alternator for generator. Mind you, I told you that I'm using auto data here. This is what I'm using. This is not all data. This is auto data. You can subscribe with these guys. Look, I'm not promoting these guys. They are not paying me anything. I'm just talking about their platform because that's what I have. I don't have all data. I have auto data. Okay, so you can contact them and you can actually get a contract with them, and if you can afford it, sometimes they'll give you a trial. You can look around. They'll give you 30 days trial. You pay £1, I think, and then you get a 30-day trial and just look around their platform and learn, how to use their system. I find Autodata to be one of the simplest layouts. So much that if you get used to Autodata and then you get the OEM, you may sometimes be in trouble because you may not be able to understand because the layouts are totally different. I will make another video using the OEM wiring diagrams. You will see what I'm talking about. It's like night and day, the difference. Okay, so there you go. There is your generator there. All right, and then let's look this one with us quickly. Inside here there is a heating element. So all you need to do then to know is to highlight and know what is it for. See, that's what is it for. And when you come here, B54 is a sensor. This could be a sensor like a crankshaft. It could be a camshaft sensor. Let's see what this is. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, that is a crankshaft sensor. 3 wires. Okay, there is I forget the name there. There's a gentleman that asked me about how do you test 3 wires, and my response to you was, generally, the middle wire tends to be the signal wire in many cases. So what you just want to know is, what is number 3? Is it a power or is it a ground? So for you to understand what these wires are doing, you just need to check 2 wires. If I can check, I just need to check 1 wire. If I can check pin number 1 and then I find that pin number 1 is my ground, mostly number 3 is my power, number 2 is my signal. But for the sake of clarity, okay, because manufacturers do things sometimes crazy, they will move things. I don't want you to burn a car, end up burning your ECU, scorching your ECU, or frying it, because James said, rule of thumb, number 2, the middle number line or pin is a signal wire. You can test all of them to be sure. You see me on the videos, I do test them, but when I'm need speed, sometimes I have got shortcuts that I do, but you only need to do that with experience. Okay, don't do it when you don't have experience. Check all the 3 wires, record what you have, and then you can determine what each wire is doing. That's the best practice. Don't learn bad tricks from me. Right, so there is a crankshaft sensor. All right, it's a crankshaft sensor. Usually this one will be a whole type sensor. Okay, you have a power, ground, and a signal. So now, and you can see as well, with this sensor, every wire leads to the ECU. Every wire leads to the ECU. So you need to determine what each wire is doing. Okay, so which means the power is coming from the ECU, the ground is coming from the ECU, but the signal comes from the sensor. That is important to know. The signal is sent by the sensor back to the ECU. It is important for you when you are testing something to know where your signal is coming from. Usually people think the signal is coming from the ECU. No, it is actually coming from the sensor itself. So now we're doing well. I am not gonna be long. I just want to show you the basics so that we start from there. Next time we're going to look at other things, but for now let me try and exhaust what I have in front of me here. And this one here, your lambda sensors. Okay, there is your oxygen sensor there, number 2, and then you have oxygen sensor number 1. Okay, these are the lambda sensors. All right, that's the lambda sensor. You see this symbol here, that's for your lambda sensor. Okay, and let's look at this one here. That's your fuel system pressure sensor. Okay, there is a fuel system pressure sensor. All right. Here's another symbol that I want you to familiarize yourself with. It's a solenoid. You see that one there? I want you to understand what that is. That's a solenoid. When you see that symbol there, that's a solenoid. You see some of the petrol injectors will have that because they just behave the same as a solenoid. So let me talk about this area here. There's something interesting that I want to show you in this area. Right. We want to look at this fuse here. Fuse number 2. Okay. So fuse number 2, where does it get its power? Fuse number 2 gets its power from the engine control relay. Once that switch closes, this power here comes through in 5, goes here, goes here, goes here. So all these 3 fuses are controlled by this engine control relay. So once we close it, we have got power here. So power comes to pin number 2. I want you to see something here. Okay. I've heard people saying to me, oh, I've got so many codes. I've got so many codes. As a diagnostician, you want to get to a point when you look at this Christmas tree of lights and codes, on your diagnostic machine. You want to look and say, hang on here, how come I've got so many codes like this? What is causing these codes? What could be the causal? So look at the codes. So with this one, you'll find that the common thread will be exhaust gas recirculation, EGR, cooler bypass valve, power, low. All right? We come again here, intake air temperature sensor, power, low. We come exhaust gas recirculation sensor, bank 1, power, low. We come again, exhaust gas recirculation sensor, oxygen sensor 2, power, low. We move again, engine oil level sensor, power, low. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sensors that can be affected by the condition of fuse number 2. Just one fuse will affect all those sensors. So for me as a technician, I'm thinking, hang on here, there's no power here, there's no power there, there's no power there. Something is common here, right? I'm looking for the common component. Here is what is causing that. All these sensors, they are using one source of power, which is fuse number 2. So straight to fuse number 2, sort fuse number 2. I have sorted all the 5 sensors. Done. So you want to understand these shared circuits. It could be a ground that is shared. It could be a power that is shared. One thing that I want you to take away with you today, or any other day that you're going to access this video, is that you can't share a signal wire. Let me say that again. You cannot share a signal wire. You guys were in my class. I've told you level 3s, level 2s, especially level 3s. I've told you, you will not have a signal wire shared with anything, but you can have a power shared as we have seen here, and you can also have a ground that is shared. Let's look for a ground that is shared. A signal wire cannot be shared for the simple reason it is carrying information that is coming from the sensor. That is particular information. Okay, if it's a speed sensor, it's a speed sensor. How can you share that with a crankshaft or with a temperature sensor? It can't be shared. Only the powers can be shared and the grounds, but not the signal itself, because we want to know what the signal is saying for a particular sensor, not sharing, bringing 10 sensors together and then have one wire. How are you going to interpret that? I hope you see what I'm trying to say. Sometimes my English limits me. Anyway, let me see if we have any shared grounds, right? You will see as well here. Let's go to fuse number 6. Sorry, not fuse number 6. Fuse number 3, which is a 30 amp fuse. If we follow it, that's what goes to that green wire. Look what happens. 3 pins of the ECU are receiving power from the same line. All right? So these powers that are going into the ECU, they are sent to different things. Okay? So, watch out for that one. Right? Here is something that I want you to, I said this last week. When I look, I like this one about autodata. So this is the ECU that I've highlighted blue here. Okay? That's the ECU. So, if you notice in here, A35, okay, when with auto data, A35 is your engine management ECU, okay, all the time. So if you notice here, it says A96, B58. So this ECU has got 2 connecting, the word is running away from me. It has got 2 plugs, okay, sorry. My mind is racing. It has got 2 plugs, okay? It has got, plug A has got 96 pins. Plug B has got 58 pins. Sometimes it will give you the colors. Let me see, does it do that? No, it doesn't do that. It's not doing that, right? So I wanted to see if it gave us the color. No, it doesn't. It will tell you what the colors are. Okay, if there's usually they use a black, they use a brown, and then they use a gray. Okay, so that one there is a biometric pressure sensor. That's a barrel. You know, you see it on the ECU, the WI that you see on the ECU. That's your B121 there. Okay, but you have got 2 pin plugs, and those plugs have got different number of pins. It is important for you to know, because when you come to these wires, you can see they are all connected on plug A, which has got 96, okay? And if you come somewhere here, these are B, these are A. It is important for you to not take note of this, all right? It is very, very crucial for you to take note of this, right? Let me go down here and see. So you can also see as well, if we follow this wire here, see this one here, that's fuse number 1. If we follow this red and white wire, let me show you. There's a red and white wire going down. There's a red and white wire. It is also going to your camshaft sensor there. It is going to the fuel rail pressure control valve. It goes to your fuel quantity adjuster at the back of your pump, you see. So these 3, they share the same. So if it is 5 volts, that one gets 5 volts from the same one. So if it breaks here, but sometimes it can break here, you find these other 2 are still working, but that one is not working. That's where a technician comes in and you do your diagnosis. The reason why I'm showing you these things is for you to be able to be up to the game whenever you are doing electrics. Right, I am trying to find a sensor that is sharing, sensors that are sharing ground. Let me see here. Not in this manner, no, but I wanted to see, let me see if I can follow that one there. Nah, I'll go to another wiring diagram. Let me try and see if there is ground that is being shared here. Bring it closer. Let me see if there's a ground here. Well, yes, here we go. Yes, I want to believe that that one there is a ground that is switched ground from the ECU. You know, that could be a switched ground from the ECU going to that sensor, to this sensor, to that sensor, that one. Okay, and also if you come here, you can see that we have got the ECU grounded on pin 1 and on pin 2, but both of them are coming from the same source. Okay, so if something goes wrong with this wire here, all these, especially let's say from the ECU itself or from somewhere along here, if something goes wrong, all these sensors will be down. So whenever you see multiple of codes, try and be smart. Use your brain and say, right, okay, what is common here? And then once you see that commonality, follow that and get it sorted. You will fix cars quickly. Remember, the quicker you diagnose the problems, the better you are, the more money you have, the more chances you can keep your job, because employers want people that are going to make them money. All right? So let me see, what are we doing for time? We're nearly nearing an hour, so I'll stop at the 1 hour. Dushaga, how are you, my brother? Good to see you again. Thank you for joining this live stream. And right, so I was gonna look and see. Yes, let's see here. Right, you see here, remember I told you that there is an M is for a motor, so there is your fuel pump, but look on the other side, you've got the fuel gauge, you've got the resistor there. Okay, so you have got a fuel gauge on one side, so that one, pin number 2, becomes a signal wire, because it is taking the signal from here back, you know, to the fuel pump control module. All right, so your pin number 4 and your pin number 3, one can be a power and another one a live. So it's a matter of you testing these to see what they are. Okay, sometimes one thing that I like about the, what do you call it, about Bosch tends, it gives you symbols. It will show you plus, minus, and it will show you an arrow for a signal wire, whether it's going down or it's going up. Okay, so it's handy. What Bosch will not show you are the colors of these wires. They don't want, they've stopped from doing that, because if they make a mistake and say the wire is yellow when it's blue, and then you're supposed to supply power, you scotch that ECU, and then now you want to take them to task because they told you. So I spoke to one of the salesperson, and he told me that we no longer show the colors, but sometimes it is handy to have the colors indicated, because it helps you a lot to fish out a wire quickly amongst a big loom like that. Okay, so I think I'm doing well for speed here, to be honest with you. If you come and look at this one here, there is your injector. Remember what I told you about the solenoids? There's another injector, there's another injector, there's another injector. What is important for you to note here is that these wires, all of them are going back to the ECU. So the power comes from the ECU. The ground is also controlled by the ECU. Another interesting part that I want you to have a look at is these wires here: orange and brown, orange and black. Okay, these wires here, these are your high-speed CAN. There is your CAN high and your CAN low. You can see 67, 68 in the engine ECU, And then we come to a diagnostic port here, pin 6 and pin 16. Gentlemen, to be honest with you, you need to have your eyes open. You see they're saying pin 16 here. Okay, I don't know whether this is an error, because usually it is pin 14, not pin 16. Let me look at this other one here and see where my CAN bus system is. Do I have CAN bus system in this one? Yes, here's the CAN bus system here. CAN high, CAN low. It's coming from, it's going to the multifunction. I want to see one that goes to the, bear with me. I'll be moving this thing fast here. Where is my CAN? There should be CAN somewhere here. Where is it? CAN. It's bear with me. Sometimes they'll just have wires that are shortened. It's interesting. That is interesting. Let's see if fuel pump. Right. I can't find what I'm looking for. I cannot find what I'm looking for. Forgive me. But as far as I know, your CAN is, and according to this, your CAN low is pin 6, your CAN high is pin 16. That's a diagnostic. Oh, this is a diagnostic module. Right, okay, sorry. Yeah, this was, sorry, an oversight there. Right, X1 is our data link, right? That's why I was saying to you, something is not right here, sorry. This is a module, it's not a diagnostic port, all right? The diagnostic port is here. So your CAN low is 14, your CAN high is 6. That's what I know. That's why you find I was getting confused there. I didn't read my thing right. I didn't even see the sign that this is a module, okay? So forgive me for that. This is what I was trying to say to you. Your CAN high is always pin 4, CAN low, sorry, it's pin 14, and CAN high is pin 6. But be careful with Volkswagens. The Volkswagens, they work a bit differently. I'll show a Volkswagen some stage. Right, so I think I have shown you basically, you know, how this thing works. All right, ground. So we have got 8 point number 7, 8 point number 5, 8.5, and then let's see here 8.5. So 8.5 is a common one. It actually saves, you know, the majority of these sensors. Even our ECU is connected to 8.5, so it is very, very common. If something goes wrong with this 8-point corrosion and other things like that, yeah, you are in trouble. All the electronics will not work right. So it is important to check your ground side, you know, that it's still okay, because once corrosion goes in there, sometimes it will give us issues. Anybody with a question to the gentlemen that are online there? Before I come to a close, I've got 4 minutes to close this thing. I'm just looking here to see if there's something that maybe let me, while you're typing your questions, let me come to the relay once again. The relay that I showed you earlier on, it had pin 4, pin 8, pin 6, something like that. But get familiar with this numbering, because this is the standard numbering for relays. Okay, that's our 4-pin relay there. So if you know these numbers, you'll never have any issue with the relay anymore. So we said 30 is permanent battery. Let's follow it. Okay, right on, it's taking from the battery there, as you can see. Okay, so that's correct. And pin 86, we said 86 and 85, they're the control side. I say to you 86 is the power, 85 is the ground, and it is so here. So if you follow 86, follow that wire there, that red and black wire. If you come, it's powered by fuse number 7, okay, which is also powered by the battery. All right, so fuse number 7 powered by the battery. Okay, so we have got permanent power here on 86, we've got permanent power here on 30. And someone is saying, but what if we've got permanent power on 86, why is the fuse not working, the relay not working? The relay is not working because the ECU has not supplied ground. The ECU will supply ground immediately as the ignition key is turned on, then the ECU will supply ground. Once there is ground here, now that relay should work, it will close. Link pin 30 to pin 87. Your pin 87 all the time, that's the load side. It goes straight to the load. Let's follow it in this case and see where it might be going. So that's it here, that's it there. So whenever it comes out there, come on, that's it here, it comes here through that, and then it comes to this module here, which is the clutch position sensor. It also comes here, which is a brake pedal position switch, and yeah, and many other things that it would supply. All right, so there could be yeah, these auto sensors as well. All right, so these are the numbers that you want to familiarize yourself with, gentlemen. Familiarize yourself with what 30 is, what 87 is, what 85 is, and what 86 is. 30 is your permanent power, 85 is your ground, 86 is your power, 87 is your load. Okay? If then there is 87A, then that becomes a 5-pin relay. But whenever it's open, it supplies something else. But in this case, any links to wiring diagrams, mostly I can't log in. Yeah, unfortunately, John, this wiring diagram that I'm using here, it's a wiring diagram that I use for my work. You know, it's paid for, so that's what I use. You know, for teaching. It's something that I'm given. You'll have to. I know that this is the problem with wiring diagrams. They are not easy to find. You'll have to subscribe, you know, to the likes of Autodata, All Data, you know, and other platforms as well. That's where individual technicians find really. That's why it's good to network. Technicians, if I can ask you to network, you want to form as many friends as possible. Like you come to this channel here, definitely if you throw in a question, if you send a request for a wiring diagram, if it's something that I can give you, I'll be able to show you. Let's say you request a wiring diagram, I can actually create a video like this and show you what each wire is doing, you know, or I can, you know, maybe, you know, copy it and send it to you if I can, you know. So networking is the key when you're a technician. Don't be a lone ranger. You want to be where others are. Find where other people of like-minded, well, I mean like-minded people like you, where they gather, and join those groups. You'll find that life will be easy. Most of tech don't like to share. I know, I'm different. I'm different, John. I'm a different tech. That's why I've got this stream, you know. I'll share anything that I know with you. I've shared sensitive skills and tips that I could keep to myself and make a lot of money out of, but I don't. I just want to give people, I want people to benefit I want my platform to be different from other platforms where people make you pay. Yes, you can give me a donation if you want. I've opened up for donations. Those who want to donate, you can, there will be a time when I'm going to open a special group for members. That's the only time when I'll be saying, guys, you pay for this stuff. But the majority of the stuff I will be sharing with anybody and everybody. That's just my nature. I remember one of my students asking me, why do you give this, for free? I said, sometimes you need to give back to people. Any other questions? Thanks, John. Really appreciate you, my brother. Any other questions, guys? Before I close, I've gone over an hour. I hope this is going to be of benefit to anybody who is going to come across this. If it helps you, give me feedback, on the channel, and let me know if this kind of information is helpful. I'll really appreciate you. Yes, John, have you covered engine performance yet? Engine performance, no, not as such. I have just touched here and there. Anything in particular, John, that you're looking for engine performance? Which area? What part exactly, my brother? Are you talking about a diesel engine? Are you talking about a petrol engine? So, at least we wait for John to type. Anybody else who's got a question, you're welcome to ask. Do you got to subscribe to service providers? Which providers are you talking about him? Maybe if you give him these providers, maybe he can get help. If you know of any besides the ones that I mentioned and those that we mentioned last week. Oh, GDI. Right, okay. You want to know about GDI? Yeah, I can bring something about GDI actually. I can. I can bring. You're talking about direct petrol injection systems, isn't it? Yeah, I do have massive PowerPoints for that one that I use, with my students. I can talk about GDI, yeah. I can. But maybe just to say, GDI would be, when petrol is directed, petrol is injected directly into the into the combustion chamber. There are differences between a GDI and a port injection system, in the sense that besides fuel being injected directly, you will have things like the piston. The piston shape is different, because what they do, they've got this piston that has got recesses on both sides. So the air comes in, tumbles, it hits this area, it tumbles, goes right to the top. The fuel comes in one side, also hits this piston, goes at the top. So this area here, the plug is sitting on top here. This area here has got a rich mixture, but the whole cylinder has got a lean mixture. So that lean mixture then insulates the cylinder from losing heat. So you're going to find out that these GDI engines have got better thermal efficiency as compared, to the port injection ones. Yeah, and high pressure as well. They do use high pressure. The injector that they use is totally different. It's not a high resistance injector. You find that it would be maybe just 1 ohm or 3 ohms or something like that. Now it's different from the other injectors that would be 14, 16 ohms like that. Okay, yeah, I can talk about that one at some stage. Let's see, someone, John, even common rail systems operations too. Yes, I've talked about common rail. I can quickly bring back a common rail one, John, and I can keep on watching this space. I hope you are subscribed, my brother. Are you? Have you subscribed to my channel? Because if you are, you will be able to get, I can do live streams quickly, on common rail and also on the GDI. There's no issue about that. Basically, there is almost everything, you know. Thanks, Mdu. Thanks, Mdu. Mdu, which part of the world are you? Are you in South Africa? Are you in Zimbabwe? Or, if you don't mind me asking? Right, let me see. Anyone there? Right, I'll take note of your request, John, so that I can follow up on these. Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep a notebook that I'll write these down so that I don't forget. So you talked about common rail, and you talked about GDI, so on, slowness, gasoline, direct injection. Anything else, guys, that you may want to hear from me? Yeah. So when I get a chance, John, how to use the scope when diagnosing. Scope. Yeah, I've got a 4-channel picoscope here with me. I'll maybe, and there's my friend Cliff. What I'm gonna do is, I don't know how I can link you to another group. As a friend of mine, Cliff, he's posting mostly videos on, he's posting these videos on about the oscilloscope. He's actually doing another one tomorrow. I saw on my email there. Can you check my emails there and see when he's doing that one? There's one that he's doing about fuel pumps, actually. It's either today or tomorrow, I think. I'm not quite sure, but I think it's tomorrow. Usually every Sunday, we have, if we started doing it live on only last week, but normally we are on Zoom. There's a Zoom channel. When is he doing it? I'll share the link. I'll share the link.
It's today.
It's today.
He sent it yesterday.
Oh, I think he's actually doing it today. So let me. No. Can you copy the link and just post it onto the live stream? Can you? I'll get the engineer here to.
Tomorrow at 3:30.
Yeah, it's tomorrow at 3:30. So if you watch this YouTube channel, what we're going to do, we're going to post the link. Okay, we will post the link. Can you do it now? Copy that link and do it now. So you watch. There's a meeting tomorrow. A friend of mine, Cliff, is actually presenting, and he'll be doing it on Zoom, and you can benefit from that. So
How to post it in this?
sorry.
In this?
Yeah, just send it on that. Yeah, just send it straight away. So we're going to send it here. You'll see it before we leave. Any other question? Anybody else? Oh, thank you, John. Thank you very much. Really appreciate. Wow, you're a gentleman. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's a kind donation, you know. Really, really thank you, my brother. Did you send it?
No, it's not. I'm in the chat.
Yeah.
It's not showing. Is it showing for you?
No, it's not showing yet. He's gonna send it in the chat. But in any case, if you check this
I'll make
YouTube,
a post.
we'll put it on announcements. He's gonna make a post, and then there'll be an announcement that will give you a link, and you can follow that link tomorrow, 3:30 United Kingdom time, Cliff is in England, so he'll be doing this, and I'll be there myself. I'll be a student as well, just watching from my young brother, and we like to share the knowledge. And sometimes we have a one of our good friends from Canada. They do come in as well, and there's a lot of material, John, that we can share with you. Once you join that live stream, you can access now the previous videos. We have got videos on Canvas system, lean bus systems and all sorts of things. So yeah, a post has been sent. So if you join in tomorrow, yeah, so if you go to Jamro's, then you're going to see there's a post today that has been sent. Let me say thank you to all of you for your participation. It's not difficult as long as your scope is set properly. Yeah, that's right. That's correct. That's correct. Setting up the scope, so Cliff will be showing you all about the scope. I do have the scope as well, so you will see sometimes in my videos there is a power steering that I'm actually using a scope at the moment to diagnose, so you'll see that video. It will be coming in the short while. Thank you, and God bless you all. I really appreciate it. I'll meet you in another live stream. Keep an eye. I'm going to be putting out more videos. You will see more videos from me this time, so keep an eye. Thank you. Appreciate it.